Demps, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Man, y'all know what time it is. T-Law got the eyes of Lee Van Cleef when he go in that field.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
They made a major mistake when they made T-Law go to the spirit of the sky, to the oracle of the saber-toothed tiger, and the saber-toothed tiger now held the scepter in his hands, and he been to put every critic to rest. Man, last night I done marinated 2 turkeys. I got my cherry wood getting ready for my smoker. Just got off from work, off Pritchard Road. I'm gonna bake me 2 Cornish hens. My special recipe, I call it a Mediterranean Cornish hen. I'm gonna top it off with my homemade Long Island iced tea. And I'm only gonna top it off with 1 red top of Coca-Cola. The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever. Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, and Dylan Denmark.
Welcome in, everybody, as we get set to kick it off here on this Thursday edition of Jaguars Today. Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, Dylan Denmark here with you. And a caught up in whatever chaos has happened on I-95, Mike Dempsey will join us in the next segment on the phone. He's heading back home. Yeah, he got stuck in whatever that is. He'll join us on the phone here in just a few moments. He'll be around for the breakfast bowl. When I talked to him on the phone, he wanted to be very clear on his instructions for what to do about the food. He wanted to ensure all the 3 of us that are playing against him that he will be around for the breakfast bowl. Whatever it takes, he'll be back in.
You know, we don't have to answer the phone call, do we, Dylan?
You know.
We don't, like, whoop, I never heard it. Ring.
See, this is why I get made the official scorekeeper, because I'm the guy who's going to have the argument for it. The fair thing to do is to answer the phone, right? At that point in the entire process, based on what I've heard from you so far this morning, D-Rock, I think if fans are coming to the Thursday edition of Jaguars today to be talked out of whatever level of anxiety they have about the first couple of weeks of the season, whatever level of comfort they could be feeling about, hey, they usually do pretty well against the Buffalo Bills, whatever that kind of thing exists in the ether right now among Jaguars fans, I think you're fighting against it, maybe not directly, but your feelings on the game coming up this week against Buffalo are whatever your feelings on the game coming up against Buffalo are. You've seen what they've done through the first 2 weeks. It's not crazy to look at them and say, uh-oh, about the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024.
Not at all. In fact, you should be saying, uh-oh, and oh, no, not again. Because I think they're headed for, at least the next couple of weeks, I think they're headed for a couple of really bad losses. I don't see what you can fix with this group, especially offensively. I don't see. There are no options on the roster to fix it at this point. It is what it is. So they have to figure out a way to win in spite of their issues. And we all know what the issues are. Look, the offensive line is not playing well, but we knew it was going to be a major issue coming into the season, and it has been. And there's nothing. I mean, sure, you could go ahead and bench a couple of guys, but it's not like if you bench 2 or 3 guys, then the next thing you know, this is a Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, and they're going to be running the ball and protecting Trevor Lawrence, and the passing game will explode. It just is what it is at this point, and they have to figure out a way to win in spite of their issues. Trevor hasn't played well at times. He's bailing out of the pocket early. He's missed on some easy throws. Etienne has, he had the fumble. The running game has not really gotten going to the extent that they want. The short yardage hasn't been great. Christian Kirk hasn't been involved. Even before he got hurt, Evan Ingram hasn't been involved. The bright spot, if you're looking for the bright spot, is Brian Thomas Jr. But I just don't see a scenario in which They flip the switch and everything is fixed. I think they're just going to have to find a way to win in spite of their weaknesses. And on the road in Buffalo is not going to be one of those places.
Well, it's Buffalo's been a team that's gotten them, it's lifted them up, right? Several times over the years, even in the Urban year. You know, that was a terrible, miserable, awful football team going up against the pretty good Bills team that year. And Josh Hines Allen, the artist formerly known as Josh Allen, had maybe the best day of his career, you know, from front to back that day against Buffalo, and they found a way to win that football game. It's hard to see past how difficult it is to get over two losses the way that they've lost these games. You know, and especially with the next two games coming up. We knew the beginning of the schedule was going to be tough. 0-4 wasn't out of the realm of possibility, even going into the season. So I think the results from 3 months ago, looking at the schedule, saying they might start 0-4, well, they might start 0-4, right? Like, that's a reality right now, but they should have started 2-0. That's the frustrating part of this.
The other reality of it.
Right. Like, it's, if they don't have the fumble against Miami, I think they win that game.
Agree.
If they don't have their running back not getting set on that play this week, I think they win that game. Like, I think they beat Cleveland if that moment in the game changes. That's how bad I think Cleveland is. That's not to speak of how good I feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars at this point, but I think there is that path to, despite how bad I feel about where they're at, with all the issues that you brought up, they ought to be 2-0. Now, they've been bad enough that 2-0 has been turned into 0-2, and now the schedule flips. Like, it does look much more difficult when you're having to play Buffalo and Houston the next 2 weeks. I think
on the road.
Right. I think they're capable of winning both these games. I don't know that I'm going to pick them to win, you know, against Buffalo or Houston, but I think they're capable of getting some of those things done. And from the trying to find the silver lining, where is the bright side, right? Since, you know, you pointed at all the clouds, and I see them too. You know, like, I see all the clouds too. I don't deny that they're there. But I do think there's something to, if they just make the plays that are there for them to be made, I think they're okay. I don't think they're a great team even if they get that kind of thing done, but they're okay. They'd be 2-0 if when the ball hits Christian Kirk's hands, he catches it. If when the ball hits Evan Ingram's hands in week 1, he catches it. If ETN doesn't fumble that ball away. Now, this is the NFL. Everyone who ever loses a game, especially when it's one score, you can always point to the 4 or 5 plays. If we had made them differently, we would have won the game. It would have changed the outcome of the game. Yeah, duh. We know. That's how the league works, you know. But for fans, I can understand trying to hold on to that kind of thing. I can also understand the other side going, yeah, but they stink.
Bad teams don't make the plays when they're there.
That's been my argument on the percentage of 0-2 teams that make the playoffs, and everyone talk about 9, 11, 12, whatever you want to talk. It's like, yeah, bad teams start 0-2. That's not a news flash. Right? And you're looking at a team that you didn't expect to be bad starting 0-2 and saying, well, maybe they'll turn this around, and maybe they will. It's not impossible for them to get this thing turned around, but the problems, you're right. They seem pretty obvious right now. If you thought they had fixed anything on the offensive line, well, the thing that they brought in to fix it has played fine. Morse has been fine.
Yeah, he's been okay.
Right? Like, that has fixed the problem at center. Cool. How can you explain Anton having the start to the season that he's had? Like, it's among the most disappointing things that I've seen through the first 2 weeks. Is we talked about it a lot on the show yesterday. We thought offensive tackle, defensive interior, that's where they're deep. That's where they're strong. That's where if they're going to have issues in places on the team, it won't be here or here. Well, you know, 2 weeks into this thing, those are two of the big glaring what's going on. They don't stop the run. Last week against Cleveland, they didn't really stop it against Miami all that well either. But they haven't stopped the run basically through the first 2 weeks. I thought that's where they were supposed to improve on the defensive side of the ball. And the offensive tackles, I mean, Anton, I know he's better than what he's been these last couple of weeks, but it's been bad through the first 2 weeks of the season. They can't afford to have spots that they thought were handled not be handled as they get into, as we've already discussed, the real meat of what this schedule is going to be for them.
And you know, the reason Doug Peterson acted the way he did after that game the other day in the postgame is because he's experiencing and feeling everything that you're saying. He's like, you know what? We were supposed to be pretty good along the offensive line at the tackle spots. I'm afraid. We're supposed to be good at tackle. Supposed to be able to stop the run. Haven't done either. Christian Kirk, he's healthy. That's Trevor's guy. That's, now we've got the deep threat to go with our guy in the middle and across the short throws and not working. Trevor's going to make this his third year in the offense. He knows everything. He's been a bigger part of putting it together. This is the jump year that he's headed for. Nothing that he has expected to happen that they were convinced was going to happen has happened. And he's, again, like I said, he's at a loss because there's nothing you can do to fix. You can fix some of the issues, but there's nothing you can do to fix the overall offensive line. Your options are, okay, if I bench the left tackle, I bring in Walker Little. Who am I benching at left guard? Who am I putting in there? Am I putting in, do I put Walker Little at left guard? Oh, maybe I could do that. Oh, at center, I'm fine. At right guard, if I bench him, what am I doing? Am I putting Cooper Hodges at right guard? Maybe I put Walker Little at right guard. Okay, all right. If Anton continues to play poorly, am I benching Anton? No. I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Guys that are playing have to play better.
Correct. That is and I think for the most part, it's a 75-85% on players in this league. Yeah. Coaching does help, absolutely. But if you spend multiple periods or multiple plays during a period repping a certain look that you're playing on defense, and repping a play against a certain coverage or against against a certain offensive play or against what you know that this offense is going to run, and you rep it over and over and over again, multiple times a day. And every single time, everybody plays their assignment the way you coach them to do. And then when it happens in the game and you get that look against the defense you've called, you're confident as a coach, hey, look, we've repped this. We've got this defended. And then one guy totally does the opposite of what he's supposed to do, or two guys totally do the opposite of what they've supposed to have done. When you've repped it all week, whose fault is that?
It's a player.
That's a player thing.
Yeah.
It's a player's league. Coaching does help, but it's a player's league. And right now, the players on this team are not playing to the level that they can play.
Yeah, they're having serious issues right now, and they're going to a really tough place to play, and they're going to be doing it in prime time on Monday Night Football this week. The Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today, we're talking about some of the issues they have. Well, some of those players are mentioned in the poll question we have up. Which of these Jags offensive players are you most confident in seeing a bounce-back week from this week against Buffalo? Your options in the poll: Tank Bigsby, Anton Harrison, Christian Kirk, and Cam Robinson. We'll talk about that as we get into the show this morning, because D-Rock, when I told him what the question was, he was like, huh? His response,
I know who I would say. There's one person on there for me that's obvious, but we'll talk about that later.
No doubt. We'll get into it as we get into the show this morning. Mike Dempsey will join us on the phone from Parts Unknown on the other side as we get into a Thursday edition of Jaguars Today. Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, Dylan Denmark. How are you this morning, Dylan?
I'm all right, man. Pretty good.
Good. We got Breakfast Bowl. I know you're fired up. You get to pick last this morning.
Yes. I don't know if I like picking back-to-back, but it's and I like not buying breakfast. I'll just say that.
I was about to say, that's the game. I'm not buying breakfast.
Yeah.
You won. You won the week because you didn't have to buy breakfast. D-Rock did. We'll see what that looks like as we get into the second hour of the show this morning. Dempsey will join us on the other side. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You want a team that doesn't let you down, that has a game plan, that knows how to execute? Awaken 180 is all those things and so much more. They've got wonderful institutional knowledge of how to help people lose weight, but more importantly, or equally important, let's put it that way, how to keep that weight loss intact and maintain it over a long period of time. I've been able to do it for a year. Hacker, Matt Hayes are having tremendous success with Awaken 180, as has everyone I know personally who's tried the program. You eat to lose weight. There's no great exercise regime that you have to start up. There's no medications or anything like that to take. You eat and turn your body into a fat-burning machine, and all of a sudden you change your eating habits and the way you think about food, and it's a lot easier to maintain that weight loss than any time in your past. Hit your goal weight, free support for life from Awaken 180. How do you get started? Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or begin your weight loss journey by scheduling a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Make Friday feel like the weekend.
We're wasting time.
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
Let's do it. Come on.
We'll get you ready for the games. Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and MyBookie on 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Now, the Florida State Seminole Report, brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team.
Florida State fell to Memphis by a final score of 20-12 on Saturday afternoon. FSU scored 9 points in the fourth quarter and had one final shot at the end zone with 1 second remaining, but the Hail Mary pass was batted down as time expired. The Noles limited the Tigers to 65 rushing yards, FSU's third best rushing defensive performance under head coach Mike Norvell. I'm RJ Saunders with your Ag Pro Seminole Report.
The Kickoff to Savings event is here at AgPro. Through September 30th, we're offering 0 down and 0% for 84 months on John Deere compact tractors. Get a 1025R tractor with loader for just $279.99 per month, or a 3025E tractor with loader for only $349.99 per month. Visit your local AgPro store today. Offer ends September 30th. Limited time offer. Some exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Jaguars Today, Thursday, is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC, with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Liquid Sunshine, a car wash committed to superior customer service. Like including bug prep done for you every time. Experience the difference starting at just $10 at Liquid Sunshine Car Wash on Southside near Hogan Road.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613. Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you spend a lot of time talking about diamonds, but what about some of the colored stones we see?
Frank, when you talk about colored stones, there are literally hundreds of varieties and species in the gem kingdom. As certified gemologists, we're trained gemologically on the identification of each of these and can separate the man-made synthetics and imitations from the real thing. But at Underwoods, we can go to the next step. At Underwoods, we're active buyers of loose colored stones in the world markets, so we have an understanding of the values of colored stones as they relate back to the various qualities. In fact, just like diamonds, we buy most of our colored stones loose, then create the pieces of jewelry to hold the gems. You can be assured not only of the authenticity and quality of our colored stone jewelry, but also of the value. So if you're in the market for a fine quality emerald, sapphire, ruby, aquamarine, amethyst, citrine, tourmaline, peridot, or any other gemstone, come by and see us at Underwoods.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
I can't believe, Dempsey, you just missed an all-time moment in Jaguars Today. Like break history. I'm so sad for you, my friend, that you couldn't have been in here to see Mike DiRocco reacting to what someone listening just said about him, which is funny because I said it 3 times in the segment, but apparently the listener saying it drove D-Rock crazy. Demps, how are you, my friend? Where are you at right now?
Who said what about D-Rock and how did he react? I need detail, please.
Well, I can't go into detail because it's not safe for air, exactly what the reaction was, but all they said was someone was just like, D-Rock is negative, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I called him negative 3 or 4 times in the opening segment. I don't know what the big deal is with that, but yeah, D-Rock, he didn't let me have it, but he let the listener.
I'm just like flummoxed as to what did you want? Like, did you think I was going to come in here and sunshine and rainbow that? After the bowl of bad oatmeal that they've thrown on the field the last 2 weeks? Like, you want...
Bowl of bad oatmeal.
I mean, well, I said something else, but I'm just kind of
he said a lot of other things.
But, I mean, how can you possibly not be critical negative? I mean, what have you seen in the first 2 weeks, listener, that has given you a reason for optimism? Because there's nothing you can point to other than Brian Thomas Jr., and they can't get him the ball. So anyway.
That's the main one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's we were talking about it during the break, right? The Brian Thomas Jr. thing, Demps, and the idea of it feels like they bring in a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., and he ought to be able to stretch the field for you, and at times he has. We've seen that hit a couple of times this year already, but it already feels like they're getting to a point with the issues they're having on the offensive line to have to revert to what they were last year, where at some point they're going to have a conversation with Evan Ingram saying, that whole thing about us saying we were going to let you stretch the field and do more seam stuff. I think we may just need you to catch the ball for 3 yards 130 times again this year, because we don't have any other answers on offense for how we get to any of our deep stuff, because the offensive line right now just isn't holding up well enough to allow them to do any of those things they talked about doing this offseason.
Well, of course, to do that, they'd have to have Evan Ingram healthy enough to play and then actually be willing to throw him the ball, which, they didn't do a whole lot of when he was healthy in week one. And who knows how big a part of the game plan he would have been last week. But, look, there's no question about it. But I still think you got to try to manufacture opportunities for Brian Thomas Jr. You can't tell me that you can't max protect and take a shot a quarter to that guy, certainly a shot a half down the field, because every time that you get that ball off and go deep, and it's only been a couple, big things have happened for the Jags, and they produce some of their best offensive output based on those plays. So, look, if the Giants can find a way to throw the ball 18 times to Malik Neighbors, I think we can find a way to throw it 8 times to Brian Thomas Jr. in a single game.
Well, they've thrown it to him 8 times this year.
Right.
To this point. And look, I'm with everyone else. I would have loved to have seen what would have happened on that slant that they threw to him that he dropped. That's a bummer, because I wanted to see on a short pass like that, Brian feels like the kind of athlete that can turn that 4-yard catch into a 20-yard play in a flash, right? Like he has that kind of ability. I'd like to see that added to the repertoire so defenses at least have to be wary of those kind of things. Is like, we don't just have to throw it 50 yards down the field for this guy to be dangerous to you, but the opportunity they've given to be that to Brian Thomas Jr. Unfortunately, last week that ball goes off his hands, and we know how NFL defenses react to that kind of stuff. They say, all right. Like, we know we got to cover him deep. Cool. That feels like defenses are getting to that point, but I'm with you, Demps. They have to have a plan to at least try it every now and then, because he is dangerous on trying it.
Well, I'll let them feel like they can't throw underneath to them. I mean, look, the guy had a drop, but that's kind of been the problem, right? It's like sometimes Trevor's off target, sometimes there's a drop, sometimes there's a blown assignment on the offensive line, sometimes the running back has a major screw up, of whether it's the turnover or a penalty or whatever it's been. And it's not one thing that's just fixable, D-Rock. You can't just point to it and say, if only Trevor were doing this, or if only this guy were doing that. Where's Christian Kirk been? Where's the game plan been to get the ball to a guy who's been as reliable a target for Trevor Lawrence for the last 2 years as anybody? And granted, I understand the drops in week one. I don't think that means Christian Kirk is out of your rotation. He's got to be one of your more relied on guys, and it can't be throwing a jump ball to him between 2 taller defenders as one of his 3 official targets in the game. But for Christian Kirk to come away with negative yardage is completely unacceptable. So some of it's the scheme, some of it's probably the play calling in various moments, and that's the problem. You've got to fix like 8 or 9 different things just to be competent right now.
They have to find a way to game plan around their weaknesses. And that's easy to do when I shouldn't say easy. That is absolutely doable when there's one weakness that you can point a finger to. But when you have multiple areas that are not performing, like you were just talking about, it's hard to game plan around everything. You just can't do it. And I don't know. Like the Brian Thomas thing, we were talking in the break. At some point, they said, okay, after drafting or after losing Calvin Ridley, they decided, okay, we got to draft Brian Thomas Jr. We got to get receiver in the first round because we want to stretch the field. Okay, but then they did nothing to improve the infrastructure to allow that to happen. It's almost like they live on all these dirt roads full of potholes and lumps and gravel and all that other stuff, and they bought a Ferrari to kind of drive around on the dirt roads. It just does, like, the infrastructure doesn't match what they want to do. And that's another reason why they're struggling the way they are. It's a complete and total mess. And I don't think it's one of those deals where, Mike, you just flip the switch one week and everything's fine. It's they're just going to have to figure out a way to swim through the mud, and I just don't know that they're going to be able to do it.
But when you talk about that infrastructure, I think we all agreed if we were worried about the offensive line, because that's the infrastructure that doesn't allow you to take deep shots down the field if you can't protect and all that, we felt the best about Anton Harrison. We probably felt like, well, Cam Robinson's serviceable, and we've got Walker Little over there, so our tackle position is pretty solid. Well, in terms of pass protection, the interior three has been pretty solid to good, and the tackles have been abysmal so far this year. So it's not like they decided to, hey, let's just ignore tackle because, you know, we thought we were going to be pretty good, particularly with Anton Harrison. He's been the worst of the offensive linemen. Now, it's only been 2 games. I still think he's a talented guy, but I don't know if you can fault the Jaguars' vision. None of us thought that was the issue. We questioned the interior of the line. Have they done enough there? And at least through a couple of weeks, the metrics say that they've been better than the outside guys.
Right, but they're still not. They're still below average. Mitch Morse is performing at a solid level, but the guards I still think are playing below average, and they're not any better than they were last year. And
according to, again, I don't know what ESPN stats and metrics are. I've seen the PFF numbers. Like Ezra Cleveland's a little bit above average in pass protection. Sheriff's been in the top half of the league among guards in pass protection, and Morse is in the top third of centers. So I think at least in pass protection, which is what we're talking about, trying to get the ball to Brian Thomas Jr., those guys have been serviceable.
Yeah, well, I actually looked this up the other day. In ESPN's pass block win rate metrics, Harrison ranks 60th among tackles, Cam 53rd among tackles, Sheriff 28th among guards, Cleveland 47th among guards, and Morse 17th among centers. So Morse is average, is playing in pass blocking, which is what he needed to be. That's all he needed to be.
And he's doing
because the other guy was at the bottom. But I just, look, there's no excuse. Look, Cam Robinson, on that safety, Cam Robinson gets beat. Okay, Myles Garrett just absolutely eats his lunch on that. So that forces Trevor to move a little bit. And then a no-name defensive tackle splits a double team.
Yeah.
Relatively easily. Like, that shouldn't happen. And we can go back into that and deal with that play. It's like, why are you even calling that play? When your left tackle's been had his lunch being eaten all day, and it's a longer developing play, and you're on your 2, you have no timeouts left, and they know you're going to pass.
Yeah.
Why are you calling that long developing play there at that moment when you know your offensive? It's almost like they refuse to acknowledge that the offensive line is not very good. It's like they see it one way and literally everyone else sees it another way. And it is seemed to have been like that all the time with this franchise.
Well, when that gets flipped, and it could, you know, at some point, especially if the results remain the way the results have been to this point, when it goes back to what it was last year, and every play is snap, throw, right? Which is what they did last year to protect the offensive line because they couldn't do anything else. Well, that takes the deep stuff to Brian Thomas. It lessens that a lot with what they do. All the plans they had for trying to use Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. in those kind of roles, that all goes away, and it becomes we're going to throw it 3 yards to somebody. Well, the most likely guy to throw it 3 yards to is Evan Ingram and to some degree Christian Kirk, but neither of those guys have been great. One of them wasn't even available last week, right, for the football team. So we'll continue to talk about the offense specifically and what is the strength, you know, for that team on that side of the ball at this point, or what can it be for them going forward. It's important. They're going to have to score points against Buffalo. We know that. Buffalo is not a team that you're going to win a game scoring 17-14. That's not the kind of team that you're playing this week in all likelihood. So what exactly is that going to look like? Dempsey, how close are you to wherever you can be to get out of your car, my friend?
I just made it back to the house, so we'll be good. We'll be at the home studio coming up.
All right, sounds good. So Dempsey will rejoin us from the casa here in just a few moments as we continue along. It's a Thursday edition of Jaguars Today here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. Are you tired of having your carpets professionally cleaned only to have them looking dingy again? Zero Res can help. I'll tell you what, they have the technology. Zero Res uses its patented ZR water that cleans beautifully without using any soaps, detergents, or shampoos. That means zero residue left behind. And guess what? Zero Res falling back in time for September. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and we'll clean a 4th room for free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's a right way to clean.
Looking for a new vehicle? Take a look at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Now's the time to save big this summer. Choose from more than 250 new and over 1,000 used and certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot, or shop anytime at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com. Hyundai has one of the top warranties in the business. Lifetime powertrain and a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, plus 3 years free maintenance on a new vehicle. Give us the opportunity to earn your business today. Atlantic Boulevard, Jacksonville, or visit Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com. Welcome to the family.
Jaguars Today, Thursday.
Brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. And if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI defense firm and Monahan Jewelers on 1010XL.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Google Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
If your IT, data security, and your office copiers are operating perfectly, you must have hired ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, as your technology partner.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Have a group trip or company function soon? Mark Watson here with Hardball Creative. Get busy ordering the t-shirts and other swag you'll need. It's easy with Hardball.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Blue
for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars defensive lineman Eric Armstead on where the Jaguars defense can improve the most.
Looking at turnovers, man, I think that is an area that we need to definitely dramatically improve as a team. Turnover is one of the biggest indicators between wins and losses in the NFL. And so as a defense, we have to find a way to get takeaways, force the offense to turn the ball over, and get off the field. I think that, we were on the field a lot longer than we should have been.
Jaguars defensive lineman Eric Armstead on the Third and Long podcast. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco is powered by Lickety Split AC, Plumbing and Electric on 1010XL.
I can see Mike Dempsey on Zoom.
Hi.
Nobody else can, but I can. I can see
Tell D-Rock to scoot over. He'll see me.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You can see D-Rock and me as D-Rock's now looking around the room to see if he can find you. And apparently he
D-Rock,
can't.
come over here.
What?
Come over.
That kind of, obviously we're talking a lot about offense on the show this morning for good reason. It's been pretty miserable through the first couple of weeks, and they've made mistakes all over the place in different levels, different areas to this point in the year. It's the inspiration this morning for our question of the day today, where we're just asking which of these Jaguars offensive players are you most confident in seeing a bounce-back week from. This week, we mentioned 3 of the 4 names that we have in the poll already this morning in that first segment, just talking about the points of frustration from the football team on offense to this point. And I turn it over to Mike Dempsey, who's going to answer the question as his 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
I think I'm in the minority on this, Tony. And, here's the thing. I don't even know if he's going to play this week, but Tank Bigsby is my pick in this. And I'm going to assume that he's going to be okay to go because it did look like he got back on the field for at least one special team rep that I can remember seeing him this
Peterson
past
just
week.
said he's going to play this week.
Good. Okay, good. All right. Well, I've actually seen Tank play well this year. So that's where my confidence is going. Granted, Christian Kirk's been a good player for the last couple of years, but this 2 weeks in a row that first week was on him, I thought, and he dropped a couple of opportunities, even one that might have been a little off target is still one he should have caught. And then this week, it was more about the team couldn't find a way to get him the football. It's mind-boggling to me how he's only getting 3 targets. Anton Harrison, I don't know what's going on there, if it's a sophomore slump or what, and Cam, he's an okay player. He's not a great player. I think Bigsby played pretty damn well in week 1, and having that 1-2 punch, I think you're going to, like you said, you're going to have to score points against Buffalo, but if you can go on some time-consuming drives where you can pick up some first downs in the running game, keep it out of Josh Allen's hands, that wouldn't hurt either. And, oh, by the way, they are coming off a game where they got 3 interceptions off Tua when you didn't really get close to getting one off Tua. I guess he had the one shot with the Foye had one in the flat. But either way, I'm going to say Tank Bigsby here just because what I saw from him week 1 was pretty outstanding, and I think he's capable of giving us that kind of performance more often than not.
As you mentioned just a moment ago, D-Rock, Tank Bigsby, Doug Peterson did say he's okay. He'll play this week. The other injury updates of note from Coach Peterson this morning, Darnell Savage, they're going to work back in this week. They hope he'll be able to play on Monday night, and maybe the big one relevant to the offensive conversation we're having, obviously, Evan Ingram, quote, a little further away, end quote, and that they are going to take it day by day for a guy who just popped up during a pregame warm-up to a point where it was almost like they regretted having already turned in their inactives.
Oh, yeah. Well, at that point, yeah, it kind of bled over into that time, which is why they were a little bit late getting those out, because they were trying to figure out a way to change some stuff up, and they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, look, there are a lot of points of frustration for the team right now, and we're trying to delve into what is the strength of the Jaguars offense, right? Ideally, if they could make all the pieces they have in the building work right now, what would the strength of the Jaguars offense be?
Demps, you go first, because I'm going to take a few minutes to figure that out.
Well, what would it be if they could make all the pieces work?
Yeah.
Well, if they could make all the pieces work, everything would be working, wouldn't it? Right, and then the strength would be it would be across the board. But if you put it this way, if you gave league average pass protection and didn't have a bad drop rate, I think you have a quarterback who can make every throw. That doesn't mean he's going to make every throw every time, but I think you have a quarterback that can unlock any part of the field, and that includes down the field to Brian Thomas Jr., like we saw. And we haven't had that in the offense, and I know they want to stretch the field more. So to me, it is still having a quarterback that is unlimited by what you can call if you can protect it, if you've got a decent running game. Like, no quarterback exists in a vacuum, and I'm not saying it hasn't in part been Trevor's fault, but I still think he can make every throw in the book when it comes to the NFL, and I don't think every quarterback can do that. So I'm going to say, this is, again, presuming that the offensive line is competent, that the receivers are catching the football. And again, Trevor has to be accurate when those opportunities present themselves, but there's not a window he can't fit a ball into. And, so I think that the quarterback you have doesn't limit you from putting any kind of game plan together, I think would, to me, be the strength. Because if you just say, hey, if everything's firing on all cylinders, well, then the entire offense is going to be a strength at that point.
We just went through some of the offensive numbers, the offensive line numbers specifically, and it sounded to me like they're at least league average at 3 of the spots, right? And where they're not league average are the 2 spots where you're like, well, we're definitely at least league average here and here, right? Like, that was the thought going in. We're at least league average here and here. And as you just said, Demps, if they can get league average offensive line play, then they can open up some of the things they thought they would be able to open up in the offense. So why should we assume 2 weeks in that Cam and Anton can't get back to the level that we expected them to be going into the season? I didn't expect them to necessarily be elite. Just give us okay. And through the first 2 weeks, they haven't given them okay. If those 2 guys get back to being okay, how much does that open back up for the offense?
I think if those 2 guys get back to being okay, then I think they then are able to attack all levels of the field. Both in the run game and the pass game, but definitely, obviously, they could stretch the field. They could still work the intermediate areas. They could still go ahead, and if they've got to get the offense moving, get a little rhythm going, they could hit some of those short, quick passes. But yeah, I mean, yeah. And I think we talked about it before the season started. It's like they don't need to be great on the offense. They need to be average, and now they are well below average. And I don't know that I do think the 2 tackles can get better. I think the interior is what it is. I don't think all of a sudden Brandon Sheriff's going to start playing at a level close to what he was playing when he was in Washington.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. I think Ezra Cleveland is, an average offensive lineman. I think I don't see it getting any better than that. I think that that's where they kind of are right now. But yeah, if you're looking for an area that, like for the caller who thought I was so negative, okay, here we go. If you're looking for some positivity, like what Tony just said, the tackles can get better. And if the tackles play better, then all of a sudden the offense opens up a little bit. That's all I got.
I agree with that.
That's all I got.
Right. Like, and that's the thing. We'll take average. You could be average, right? That means you're kind of right in the middle, right? You're not the best. You're not the worst. I don't think anybody expected one of the top 5 offensive lines, but I don't think we expected this level of subpar play from the tackle position, particularly Anton Harrison. I mean, he's been really bad for a couple weeks, from the folks who grade this stuff. So they can bounce back, but sometimes, D-Rock, you have those seasons that are like inexplicable. Guys going along, and then he just is miserable for a year. And you're like, what happened there? I don't really know. And maybe there are reasons behind it. I don't know what those reasons might be. Yes, we've seen him play better, but we only saw him play better for 1 year. We've seen Cam play better as well, but that needs to happen in a big hurry because Greg Rousseau is having a hell of a season already for Buffalo, and he is licking his chops to go up against this offensive line of Jacksonville.
How close are they to making a decision with Cam? Like, is there any chance that Walker Little gets put in the lineup there? Because if they're going to make a change along the offensive line, they have that and Cooper Hodges at some point being put in at one of the guard spots. Like, those are the options they have to make a change along the offensive line. Do you get the sense that they're anywhere near making that kind of decision, Walker being the more likely of the two to get into the lineup?
No, not yet. Not yet, because I still think they believe that there's going to be a bounce back, that these guys can play at a higher level, and they're going to continue to believe that they can play at that level and coach them up to play at that level. I would be... Now, if there's any kind of nick or, a little bit of an injury, maybe that's the excuse that you're looking for. But I don't get the sense that they're close to making wholesale changes in the lineup.
Yeah. Like and I mentioned it on the show yesterday because I see it from fans bringing it up a lot. Like, the offensive line was better at left tackle when Cam was hurt early in 2022. They were better at left tackle when Cam was out at the beginning of last season. That's when we were winning all the time, was when Walker Little was playing left. Like, I don't think it's that simple. I don't think the math on that is nearly as simple as some fans want to make it. They were winning when he was playing left tackle in 22 and 23. Like, those kind of things, I think fans make a whole lot bigger of a deal than that than the insiders will on that kind of thing. But I've said the entire time, I don't think Cam is all that much better than Walker. I would have been ready to move on from Cam Robinson a while ago. Walker Little, for whatever reason, the coaches have just never liked him enough to make him the left tackle. I can't explain the rationale for that kind of thing inside the building, but it's pretty clear that's their rationale. They don't like him enough as a player at left tackle to make him the left tackle yet. And I don't think at this point we can expect that he's ever going to be the left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, I would have... At the end of last season, I would have bet a significant amount of money that Walker Little was going to be the left tackle this year because they weren't going to bring Cam back, and that Cooper Hodges or somebody else would be the right guard because they weren't going to bring Brandon Sheriff back. To me, those are the two big surprising moves of the offseason for this team. And they might end up being the two worst moves of the offseason for this team if things don't get better.
Yeah, I think we'll get into the defense a little bit, what's going on with Ryan Nielsen. We hadn't even talked about anybody on the defensive side of the ball.
Does it matter at this point?
For this team yet? Certainly, it feels like going into the season, the seat could potentially get hot for Phil Rauscher as the offensive line coach at some point. They needed to take a step up somewhere along that offensive line, and as we've discussed through the show this morning, not a whole lot has improved. In fact, we can point to several areas where they got worse with guys that were returning. It's hard to explain that, and it wouldn't be surprising if the seat is warming up a little bit on Phil Rauscher. What exactly that means for a change in season, that kind of stuff. Fans get excited every time we mention stuff like that. I don't expect it to change until we get to the end of the season.
And when's the last time an assistant coach has been fired during the season?
That kind
other
of thing,
than like a coordinator.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen here in season. But it's something to keep an eye on as we get into the meat of it. Starting on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. We'll talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. We still got the Breakfast Bowl coming up in about half an hour. Dempsey got to go back home and keep his list with him, so he didn't have to worry about leaving it behind today for Week 3 of the Breakfast Bowl. As we continue along, you're listening to a Thursday edition of Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Get game day going with news and notes, injury updates, and everything you need to know to enjoy the game on the Terminix Kickoff Show.
Go, go, go!
5 hours before kickoff. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade on 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool.
Feeling the heat, Jacksonville? Cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Your system worked hard all summer long to keep you cool. Give it a spa day. Schedule a system tune-up. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
You're locked in to Jaguars Today Thursday with
Cannons of Jacksonville.
Hey, there's a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event going on right now at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Monahan's is known for its natural diamonds and gemstones, but we've had so much demand for lab-grown diamonds that now through the end of September, Monahan Jewelers is having a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event. We've brought in a huge selection of lab-grown diamonds and jewelry to meet this incredible demand. Lab-grown diamond sales event now through the end of September at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
When you're behind the wheel of your car, you expect a safe journey. But what if the other driver's careless and you're injured? The responsibilities and demands on your spouse just doubled. You suddenly can't work. So what happens to your family's income? And by now, the emergency room and medical bills may be sitting on your kitchen counter. You've got some problems, and we want to hear about them. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Office, Jacksonville.
Ever wondered what heaven smells like? Come explore Crowned Head Cigars on Saturday, September 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road, and find out. We've got the Mil Diaz, so smooth it's like a spa day for your taste buds. The Mil Diaz Maduro, rich enough to make a chocolate bar jealous. And Tim Osgener's Aramis, so bold they'll make you rethink your life's choices. As always, there will be great deals, food, and prizes you'll want to brag about. See you at Tobacco Cove, where every puff is a party.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway at Pella Windows and Doors.
Chris Doring is chomping at the bit to tell you about today's Gators.
Chomp, chomp, chomp!
With Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL.
Don't suffer another day with cheap box store cornhole boards. Order your custom luxury boards from Mystic Cornhole Company right here in Jacks. Ask about pro-level bags, lights, score stands, and other accessories. And score with Mystic Cornhole Company.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Hicken here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th, as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by USA Park. Billy Napier has his Florida team on alert about the Mississippi State quarterback.
Well, he's got a lot of experience. He's played a lot of football. He's a gritty player. He's a good athlete. He's tough. And he's had success in the past.
FSU's head coach Mike Norvell continues to get questions about the quarterback position and commented on how progress will be measured.
Try to have a weekly focus of, hey, this is something that is an essential. I need to see you take a drop on each play.
With the seat hot under Florida head coach Billy Napier, former head coach Urban Meyer was asked about a return to the Swamp.
That ship has sailed, and I want that program to do well so bad. I know so many people there and give a big part of our life to that program, but that ship has sailed.
At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:59, it's 80 degrees. Time at 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco is powered by Lickety Split AC, Plumbing and Electric on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Mike Dempsey, Mike DeRocco, Dylan Denmark here with you. We are Jaguars Today. We've talked a lot about offense, and for good reason. It's been the bigger issues seem to have been on the offensive side of the ball through the first couple of weeks for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. It's got to a point where yesterday someone even called and complained. It's like, why aren't y'all criticizing Ryan Nielsen? I was like, well, I thought we've done enough to criticize how bad they were against the run, especially against
18 points per game in 2
right,
games.
But they're not terrible on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think the defense is where you can point for the big reasons why they're 0-2. Most of the big reasons why they're 0-2 have been on the offensive side of the ball, again, as we've discussed. But D-Rock, how much better, if at all, do you think the defense looks early on this year compared to – it'd be interesting to compare it to what we saw early in the season last year, because late in the season I don't think it was very good. So I certainly think it's better than it was at the end of last year. But early in the season last year, they were forcing a bunch of turnovers.
Right.
Like, that is something the defense was doing. They still haven't forced one to this point here in 2024. But do you think the defense is better this year than it was last year?
Certainly by the end of the year, yes. But the interesting thing is, like, they're playing a ton of guys. Like, Foye Oluokun is off the field.
Yeah.
Not a ton, but he's off the field.
Like 11 to 13 snaps.
Yeah, they're getting,
like that,
Ventrell Miller some work, and it hasn't hurt them. That's the thing. Now, the secondary, the safeties have been a major issue, so they've got to figure that out. And I don't know that, look, Andrew Wingard, when he comes back, I would not be surprised if he is maybe put into that starting lineup to kind of fix some stuff. That the safeties have not been where they've supposed to have been multiple times. Happened multiple times last week. Again, happened multiple times against Miami, and that's got to stop. Losing Tyson Campbell obviously hurt, but I thought Monteric Brown held his own last week. But yeah, overall, the pass rush has not been as good as I didn't expect it to be massive, but I thought Trayvon had really taken a step last year. Josh is obviously playing at the high level that he is. Armstead had a sack in week 1, but overall, it's just not been as good as I thought it would be. But again, the numbers, it's 18 points a game. You don't count the safety, but they've given up 18 points a game. You give up 18 points a game in the NFL, you should be winning games.
Yeah, 0-2 is hard to explain.
Right. Well, you're only scoring 15. So that's the problem. Yeah. But I think it's been okay. It's been solid.
Yeah. I saw one of those, I don't think it was PFF, but one of those grading sites that had Josh Hines Allen as the highest rated edge defender week 2 in the league. Like they gave him their highest grade in the league, which was stunning because I know what Aiden did, this week in Detroit, those kind of things. But they gave him the highest grade in the league this week. Why didn't Mason Smith play against Cleveland?
He didn't play really well in the first game. The Jags don't feel like he played well in the first game. I know he drew 2 holding penalties, and he was only going to play, allegedly just a handful of snaps. So if he's not going to play well, I guess their thinking was, or if he's not going to play very much, let's get another guy in there and take a look at the other guy who practiced well during the week. But it was a little concerning. I mean, your second-round pick should be starting or should be in a significant role. Now, maybe sometimes, you got to send a message to the young guys that it's like, hey, you may be able to not get away with playing at a really high level consistently at college when your athleticism is able to take over, but you have to play at a consistently high level at this league in order to be successful, in order to help us. And the interior of that defensive line, like you mentioned earlier, has not played particularly well this season. So you hope that if you're the Jags, you hope that's the message that you sent to him and he got, and we'll see how it goes this week.
Yeah, we had another offseason of Devon Hamilton this offseason, and he's back. Last offseason was that he was going to be great, right? Like that's how everything looked. He had a similar training camp to the training camp that he had last year, and the expectations were getting back up to that point. We just haven't seen it yet from
some
Devon
flashes
to this point.
of it.
He's been
some
okay.
flashes of it.
Yeah.
Look, they got to play better. We talk about the interior, the offensive line has to play better. Those guys have to crank it up a notch. Von Hamilton has to crank it up a notch. Mason Smith has to crank it up a notch. Ledbetter, Tyler Lacey was inactive last week. Those guys, they've all got to crank it up a notch because what you're doing, even though you're only giving up 18 points a game, the interior is not playing fantastic. And this is going to be a game where you need them to play at a pretty high level because Cook is really, really good, and that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and run the ball, and you better be able to defend that this week or it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, Demps, as we've discussed the last couple days on the show, right? It's maybe the most stunning thing about the way this season had started to me has been that 2 of their primary areas of just what is going on have been offensive tackle not playing at even league average level, and the defensive interior is not playing above anything right now from basically anyone in those positions. We thought those were the 2 deepest spots on the roster. Apparently the front end just not good enough from either of those spots through the first couple of weeks.
Well, they're deep in terms of numbers, but maybe not in terms of quality, as we're finding out. But look, again, like D-Rock just said, who's standing out in the middle? Like, to me, you've got a second-round pick you've had in the entire offseason. He's this phenomenal athletic specimen. Hey, why don't you get him coached up to the point where he can be at least active as part of a rotation on game day? I don't know what Jeremiah Ledbetter's doing that is so eye-popping that is changing the course of these outcomes. You need to develop this guy. And quite honestly, I think the best thing the defense has going for them is the fact that they're being compared to the offense, and they're always going to look better. And granted, I get that they've only given up X amount of points. But let's say the Jags had not had the ETN fumble, and they had not had the illegal shift against Ernest Johnson, and they win both games, right? They'd be 2-0, but it would mask a lot of flaws. Like the Jags so far have not given up many points, but they're not generating turnovers, so they're not getting those crucial moments that can change the outcome or the flow of a game. And in the first half last week, they let Cleveland just dominate time of possession and go up and down the field. And Cleveland's not very good, so they had to settle for a couple of field goals. But they only had they made that half a 6-drive half, not counting the last 30 seconds. Every team had the ball 3 times, and Cleveland scored on all 3 of their opportunities. The week before, they gave up the big play. So it's not like the defense has been great. It's been better. No question about it in comparison to the offense. But I think that's, if the Jags had been scoring some more points and they're 2-0, we could start to look a little bit deeper. We'd say, hey, they need to be better here. They need to be better there. And D-Rock, when you bring up Foye coming off the field, I don't understand it. I mean, he's never had an issue with his conditioning, any of that. If he's your best player, let him play. This extra 10 reps a game, I'm not seeing any tangible results from resting the front line guys like that.
No, and you wonder at some point, when will it hurt them? Like, when will there be a play that happens when he's off the field that you would have sat there and been like, well, Ventrell or whoever was in the wrong spot, and we all know that Foye would have been in the correct spot for that. That's the most interesting thing, and going to talk to Ryan Nielsen tomorrow, which is Friday, but really Thursday for game week. And that's a question that's going to be asked. Like, hey, what's the purpose of putting him down for a couple of plays? Is it a rest thing or whatever? And we'll see how he answers it. But it certainly is one of the more surprising things on defense. I never expected him to come off the field.
Well, and one of the expectations going into the year was, well, now that they may have guys that can push the interior of that pocket, that we're going to see Josh Hines-Allen, who already had a crazy good year last year, and Trayvon Walker be able to take advantage of that. Well, Josh this week did it. It felt like deja vu to 2 years ago for me watching Josh, where it's like, well, he's winning. No one else is.
Trayvon missed a sack. He was right there and missed it.
When that guy's winning on that side and running him to what? Space, right? Because there's nothing coming up the middle. It's if they get it going from somewhere else along that line, I do feel like Josh Hines-Allen is a talented enough player that you get some kind of push up the middle, they're going to hit the quarterback a lot.
Yeah.
But somebody has to get some kind of push up the middle, and to this point in the season, they just haven't been able to create that. They're on the defensive side of the ball. We still got the breakfast bowl on the way. Before we get to that, though, in the next segment, let's take a look around the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
The Buffalo Bills have ruled out linebacker Terrell Bernard with a pec injury and cornerback Teron Johnson with a forearm injury for Monday night against Jacksonville. Houston has placed tight end Brevin Jordan on IR with a knee injury. Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love got in a limited practice yesterday as he works to return from a knee injury suffered in Week 1 against Philadelphia. LA Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh said yesterday that quarterback Justin Herbert will be listed on the team's injury report this week with an ankle injury. He did not practice yesterday. Dallas has said that an ankle injury for wide receiver CeeDee Lamb is not considered anything serious, but he was held out of practice yesterday for Dallas. Philadelphia wide receiver A.J. Brown missed practice yesterday after missing Monday night for the Eagles. Chicago wide receiver Keenan Allen missed practice Wednesday. Wide receiver Rome Odunze was also limited. Cleveland tight end David Njoku, defensive end Myles Garrett, running back Pierre Strong, wide receiver Jamari Thrash, all missed practice yesterday for Cleveland. Detroit is hopeful that defensive end Marcus Davenport will be able to play this week. He returned to the practice field yesterday but was limited for the Lions. And Kansas City running back Isaiah Pacheco had successful surgery on his fractured fibula. His timeline to return will indeed be 6 to 8 weeks, which was the reported timeline before he went in for the surgery. They were just waiting to see how the surgery went to make any kind of official, pseudo-official designation with that. But 6 to 8 weeks for Isaiah Pacheco there in Kansas City. That's what's going on around the National Football League when we return. Week 3 of the Breakfast Bowl. The fiercest competition in Jacksonville radio kicks off for the third week as we continue along. Congratulations to Pockets. Shame on D-Rock as he brought us all breakfast this morning. We'll get into our draft next right here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy. You probably don't play in a contest every week where if you lose, you have to buy breakfast. But if you did, Dandy's got some amazing options for you. Inexpensive, absolutely, but still made with the highest quality ingredients, delivered fresh all around the First Coast. You want it hot, you want it cold. Dandy's got something for everybody out there, really for any time of day. But if you want to start your day off right with breakfast, they've got the soft flaky croissants, they've got the French toast and the buttermilk biscuits and the tasty maple waffles and the sizzling country sausage and the black forest ham and the thick sliced bacon and the peppered fried eggs and the creamy Wisconsin cheddar cheese and so many other items, so many different combinations that you can imagine. Just head to a Gate station near you. Go in, enjoy that AC, head to the Fresh Case, and be amazed at the variety that Dandy offers up. I just ran through a litany of breakfast items. They've got stuff for all day long, subs, sandwiches, you name it. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Playoff teams limit their weaknesses. Offense, defense, and special teams all contribute.
All three phases come into play.
Listen for the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Sometimes special teams can be fun.
On 1010XL.
Hey, John, my dad, Randy Marion's gone absolute Cadillac crazy. You won't believe our Escalade lineup.
Well, how crazy we talking, Jennifer?
Buckle up, folks. We've got over 35 Cadillac Escalades.
35 Escalades? That's luxury overload.
I'm talking fully loaded models, cutting-edge tech, and that signature Cadillac style.
And the deals are even more luxurious. $4,000 Escalade loyalty rebate.
Plus 5% off MSRP on retired courtesy vehicles. Head to Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 MNP and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent you.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the 4th annual Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, October 4th through 6th at Timuquana Country Club. Get your tickets now, starting at just $25 for grounds passes. And if you're a country music fan, grab your tickets to see Brothers Osborne at Daly's Place Tuesday, October 1st for the Furyk Foundation concert sponsored by Ring Power. Learn everything you need to know at ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here, telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
Jaguars Today Thursday, brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at MacKenziesRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. MacKenziesRun.org.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida.
We are family-owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and beautiful people all across the world. Let's get ready for the Breakfast Bowl Challenge!
Mike DeRocco is powered by Lickety Split AC, Plumbing and Electric on 1010XL.
Demps, I'm sure you heard it in your travails this morning, but D-Rock was really hoping that you'd be stuck somewhere and that he could just pretend like the phone line wasn't working.
I heard him.
For the Breakfast Bowl.
If I ever lose the Breakfast Bowl, which ain't happening, but if I do, I-95 is mysteriously going to have a lot of traffic that next Thursday as well. So I'll be eating all your breakfast in my car is what I'll be doing.
See, I have the same position on all of this. I was for the phone working. I'm for the breakfast getting to the building, regardless.
I'll take a picture of it. I'll show you what it looked like. Look what you guys could have had. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, regardless of the results. Last week, our results look like this. Dylan took down the week with 82.1 points on the week. I finished second with 70.35. Dempsey third with 67.4. And D-Rock buying breakfast for... He bought it for Mike, so it still qualifies as him buying breakfast for all of us, but only 3 of us got to eat it this morning. So Taylor Dahl says thank you for breakfast this morning, donated by Mike Dempsey, which was a tradition last year with the Breakfast Bowl.
It might be again this year.
Yeah, it could be. We'll see what winds up.
That's 2 weeks running, by the way.
We'll see what winds up happening with that as we go through the rest of the year.
Did D-Rock get my orange juice? That's all
I did.
Did he actually have the OJ?
OJ was here, yeah.
All right, so 1 out of 2 weeks I got my drink.
Absolutely. So our draft order for this week looks like this. We go from from worst to first each week. You get to draft players. If a player is selected that week, you cannot select them again. You cannot take anyone that you've taken before, so one and done. If you've used them before in the Breakfast Bowl, you cannot use them again, and you can't use a player that anyone else drafts. So a player is available to one team per week if they want to use them. The order for the draft this morning: D-Rock, Dempsey, me, then Dylan. D-Rock, you're first. What do you got, friend?
Jordan Mason, please.
Jordan Mason.
I would have considered him, but he's going to be around for a while, and I'm not sweating it too much.
Yeah, the window is open there. Yep.
Nevertheless, would have liked to have had Jordan Mason at some point today. Not going to happen. Man, I've got a bunch of guys I really like this week, but I don't know what order to take them in. I'm going to take Devon Achane as my first one and hope that Skylar Thompson continues to just dump it to the running back like he did when he got in the game last week. And he's got 14 catches on the season. Let's get another 14 this week.
I will go Brandon Ayuk.
Okay. Yuck. Am I right?
Yeah.
No Debo this week, so I'm hoping they force it. We'll see.
All right. I'm up next, correct?
Yes. Back to back.
Back to back.
He doesn't know what to do in the winner's circle.
I know. I just want to make sure. Let me go running back Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
Then my second pick, let me go with the receiver Nico Collins.
By the way, I asked Alvin Kamara once, how do you pronounce it? Kamara? Mm-hmm. He's like, bro, whatever you want. I mean, literally, that's exactly what he said, whatever you want.
So he takes it that seriously.
But I've heard him say Kamara. It's like bitch and Kamara. That's how I think of Alvin Kamara to do the pronunciation.
So it's me again. Both of these picks make me nervous, but I'm doing it because of the matchups and the circumstance with these things. I'm going Jamar Chase.
Okay.
This will be a week I'll have like 50 since he had nothing the first 2 weeks.
Jamar Chase is definitely high on my list this week of receivers. But I am going to go. Well, I don't have to do that. Well, since this is a little bit of a tiny bit of a gamble, but I'm going to go Zach Charbonnet because I'm pretty convinced Kenneth Walker's not playing again this week with the strained oblique
all
muscle.
the indications are he won't be able to go.
Right, so give me Seattle's presumptive starting running back in that game. So that's what I'm doing.
So the flex is handled for Dempsey. D-Rock, back to back.
C.J. Stroud and Chris Olave, please.
Stroud and Olave.
All right, give me Lamar Jackson.
Okay, Lamar. It's filling that in there.
You killed me, too. Just done with those guys.
Until I do good, then you can pick it back.
Yeah, I'll go Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Pockets?
Okay. Let me roll with the Saints train with Derek Carr. And I got to play some music here. Excuse me. This is a radio production.
Multitasker.
He's not used to the timing here at the turn.
What's going to happen?
DK Metcalf.
Lex.
Okay.
We are so serious about this.
We are.
Really are.
You can hear a pin drop.
This ain't no joke.
This is big budget time.
I will go Kyle Pitts.
Yep. Kansas City's been giving it up to the tight end first 2 weeks. I've already used Kyle Pitts,
yes,
unfortunately. All right, let's see. I'm going to go Sam Laporta on the
At some point, it's going to bounce back.
Right? Like it's been really bad for a couple weeks. That was my thinking, like taking his teammate last week, and it worked. So I don't want to say that teammate's name out loud, lest I get stuck with a zero.
We all know who you're talking about.
Laporta.
All right, D-Rock, back to back to finish it, bud.
Brock Bowers. And I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right. Hoping he gets targets for more than a quarter.
Yeah, or more than the first 12 minutes of the game. Let's see here. A lot of ways I can go. I'm going to go Devontae Smith because it looks like A.J. Brown's going to miss another one. So that's what I'm doing there.
Devontae Smith. I will go Joe Burrow. And wrap it up, Dylan.
Give me go Jake Ferguson, tight end, Dallas Cowboys.
You sure he's back?
Tweaks his knee this week again.
You sure he's back?
He's back.
100%?
He practiced.
Limited.
He's playing.
Limited.
I talked to him yesterday. He's playing.
Now you really sound like E.T. Like, that was his excuse every time we went after him about the tight end thing. It was like, I talked to him. He's good.
He's good. He's good.
He's
Cliff
good to
told
go.
me he's fine.
Yeah,
he's
good to go this week. So here's the way it looks in the Breakfast Bowl for Week 3. D-Rock, C.J. Stroud at quarterback, Jordan Mason, Chris Olave, Brock Bowers, and Marvin Harrison Jr. For Dempsey, Lamar Jackson, Devon Achane, Zach Charbonnet, Devontae Smith, and Sam Laporta. I have Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, Brandon Ayuk, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts. Dylan, Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, and Jake Ferguson. And we are in for Week 3 of the Breakfast Bowl.
Let me just say, Tone, I do one of these on SiriusXM on Friday night, right? So this is like, kind of warms me up, and I like to not take all the same players. I think the sneaky guy this week, truly, like if you're playing DFS, is Zamir White.
Yeah.
Because the matchup is phenomenal, and he hasn't done much. Nobody's on him. And when are you going to use him this year? And his head coach, Antonio Pierce, just committed to him being a workhorse back. And he said it's not his fault. It's been more offensive line issues. So, just a thought, just a sneaky thought if you're playing a little DFS.
Wait, a head coach admitted the offensive line's not good?
Hey.
What?
Hey now.
Hey. That is allowed?
Time for you to go, D-Rock.
Actually, it is.
It is about time for D-Rock to step out. The quarterback's going to be speaking in just a few moments, so our last opportunity to talk to you. I have a feeling I know where he's going to go with this, but people, I'll ask it anyway. I've been talking to him about it since he walked into the building this morning. Monday Night Football, the Jags going up. It's a Bills team that, for whatever reason, they've had Buffalo's number. Even when they've been terrible, they've found a way to get Buffalo over the years. So your expectations for the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night?
They haven't won in Buffalo since 2004, I believe, and which, according to my math, is 20 years. So
that would be 20 years.
I don't see any reason for that streak to be snapped. So I think the Bills win this game by 10.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think it'll be one of those over relatively soon games, too.
Yeah, that would be 2/3 of the Jags' history. They haven't won up there in Buffalo, but they have won in Buffalo before.
They have.
We all know that.
Yeah, in the postseason. So if this were a postseason game, I'd probably pick the Jags to win.
Yeah. And was the London game last year, that was technically a Buffalo home game, but it wasn't in Buffalo?
Right, exactly.
Like that kind of thing over there in London. So if you win this week, if you're the Jags, you beat Buffalo up there this week, it's like we got a 2-game road winning streak against the Buffalo Bills, right? Like going into the future, we'll see what Trevor Lawrence has to say about everything that's going on with the team. I know we're all frustrated with the results they've gotten to this point this year. We talked about offensive tackle improvement, and if they can get those guys back to average, we'll see what the dividends of that would be for this football team. Having talked about that, what is your level of confidence that the offensive tackles will get back to average starting this week against Buffalo?
I think Anton Harrison is too good of a player to not eventually right whatever issues he's having. So I have a lot of confidence, pretty high confidence, that eventually he'll get back to the level of average or even better than average.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Robinson, I guess. He just has to play better. Now granted, he dealt with Myles Garrett, who might be the best defensive player in the league at this point right now. Best pass rusher, maybe TJ Watt, who knows. But Myles Garrett's a handful. So I do think both of those guys are going to play better as the season progresses. I refuse to think that they're still going to play at that level that they've played in the first 2 weeks. Now, does that automatically flip a switch and that happens this week? I don't know. But I do think that they both will end up playing at a higher level than they're playing now.
It's hard to imagine. They're not going to play at a lower level than what they've gotten from them here in the first couple. And if they do, for the entire thing. But obviously, does a road game help or hurt them this week? Like the Monday night atmosphere, the intensity of that kind of moment, not having to deal with whatever is going on with them at home here recently, like, does that help or hurt them, do you think?
Maybe, maybe they get up for it and they're like, you know what, this is our chance to show on national TV that we're not what we've been the first 2 weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But, they had opportunities with that last year too, and they had a Monday night game at home, and Jake Browning threw for 750 yards against them.
True.
And then they lost a couple of weeks later at home to the Ravens, had a chance to make a statement with the Ravens, and that didn't work either. So we'll find out how much grit and how much the level of toughness this team has on Monday night, because this is a game that they have to go up there and play well. Like I don't want to say it's crisis point, but it's pretty darn close, because we all know that you get to 0-4, one team has only come back from an 0-4 start in NFL history to make the playoffs. That was the 92 Chargers.
What do you have coming up on ESPN as we get ready for the Jags on Monday night?
Well, I have a totally and completely rewritten Trevor Lawrence story that's going to be running on Monday that we have sort of adjusted based on what's happened the first 2 weeks. So that's the big story that I'm still working on trying to finish.
All right. And maybe you fill in some of the gaps here in about half an hour. When Trevor Lawrence speaks down at the stadium, we'll let you go get down there to hear from the Jaguars quarterback, 16, speaking here in about 30 minutes down there at the stadium. So D-Rock will be checking out. Worst of luck to you in the Breakfast Bowl for the second consecutive week.
You suck.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And we'll put a bow on our own edition of Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, myself, Dylan Denmark, as we finish it up on the other side here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Got them in my house. That's the best endorsement I can give you. I use the product or service that I'm talking about. In fact, I do that with all of my sponsors, but particularly Pella Windows and Doors, man. Every window in my house was replaced with that Pella high quality, including my sliding glass door. Everything looks great. The house feels great. It's more energy efficient. And that's what you want, right? Consumer Reports ranks them number one in all the major window categories. You can swing by their showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, you want the best in windows and doors, go with Pella.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Jaguars Today Thursday is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need help fixing a plumbing issue? Let our winning team go to work for you. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
I insist on complete honesty.
You can chime in anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
If you have something to say to me, I wish you would just say it.
Share your opinion.
Are you nuts?
What?
641-1010.
That's crazy.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Hi, I'm Chuck Farah. We know how important it is for you to have a vehicle after you've been injured in a car accident. So when we represent you for your personal injury claim, we'll help you get a rental car from the insurance company while your car is being repaired. And we'll provide this service at no additional fee. If you're hurt and you've got no car, let my team go to work for you. Farah & Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555 or go to farahandfarah.com. Jacksonville.
Now, the Hurricane Report, brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
The Miami Hurricanes absolutely plastered Ball State on Saturday, 62-0. Cam Ward, 346 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air for the Hurricanes. They outgained Ball State 750-115 and set a new school record for yards in a game. It was also the biggest shutout win over an FBS opponent in Hurricanes history. The Hurricane Report, brought to you by Performance Painting.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
Want a one-stop shop when it comes to commercial or residential construction? Then pick Preferred Builders. They should be high on your list. Over 70 years of construction experience combined with exceptional product and service warranties. They've got a team ready to tackle any size project. In fact, they built their business in Duval by offering superior work at reasonable prices, and reputation over time means something. Honest and knowledgeable, reliable and responsive. Be sure and put Preferred Builders into your game plan for your next construction project. That's Preferred Builders.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars defensive back Monteric Buster Brown had 11 tackles on Sunday against the Browns. Jaguars defensive backs coach Chris Richard joined Jeff Loggeman on Jaguars.com and spoke about the performance of Buster Brown.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, hats off to him. He embodies the spirit of the next man up. And it is the truth of the NFL. Like, if you're not the starter, right, again, you always prepare as a starter because it could be any play. And then that next play, guess what? You just became the starter. So always prepare as if you're the starter.
Jags assistant Chris Richard with Jaguars.com. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
I've cooled down a little bit, Tony, since I was stuck in a parking lot on I-95 earlier today. And I did listen. I got the traffic update from Jeff Prosser right after I passed International Golf Parkway, and then noticed the parking lot that was laid out in front of me. And that first tenth of a mile took about 20 minutes to go. Wasn't fun. Yeah. But nevertheless, Jags heading up to Buffalo on Monday. And, I think, Tone, look, do I think Anton Harrison and Cam Robinson will and can play better? Yes, but it better happen quick. Greg Rousseau is having a nice start to his year. He had a 3-sack game in week 1, had a tackle for loss last week. He's going to be lining up across from Anton Harrison primarily, and Ed Oliver gets a lot of push up the middle. So this is going to be a different type of pressure game because Oliver can collapse the entire offensive line, and how you double team and handle him is going to dictate a lot. And look, for our guys, would have liked to have seen Trayvon Walker take advantage of the matchups that he had this week. We have a pair of high-profile pass rushers based on their sack totals last year going up against backup players, and the Buffalo offensive line right now is playing pretty well. So it doesn't get any easier, particularly when you got a quarterback that is as tough to bring down as Josh Allen. He's got that Roethlisberger build to him, so you can kind of slide off him. He can outrun you. He can do a lot of things, so they've got their work cut out for him. There's no doubt.
Revenge game for Mitch and Gabe as they go back up to Buffalo. It is the
Mitch Morse revenge game. There's no question. And by the way, I went on a Buffalo podcast yesterday. They could not have spoken more glowingly about both of those guys, Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis, what they meant to the Bills over the last few years.
Want to hear a little bit from Coach Peterson before we get out of here this morning, but Nick, he makes me nervous because he's up in New York, and I don't want it to be some hidden Bills fan trying to sneak in under the wire here, but we'll give Nick a chance from up in Queens, New York, who has dialed us up. Nick, good morning. How are you, my friend? Nick has given up. We've given up on Nick at the same
time. The only
time.
good thing that came out of Queens was Peter Parker. Right? That certainly ain't the Mets.
I agree with you there. There's no doubt. The Braves fan in me certainly agrees with you there. Let's hear a little bit from Coach Doug Peterson. We mentioned his update on what's going on with the injury stuff already on the show, but you can hear it from Doug himself as he gave an update on Evan Ingram and Darnell Savage this morning.
Evan right now, he's a little bit further away, so we'll have to take it kind of day by day. Right now with him, Sav, we're gonna work back in to practice a little bit today and just sort of get him progressed. So hopefully he's available.
Coach also said Tank Bigsby on track to play this week, so it'll be good to get him back. But Evan seems like a real question mark for him on Monday night again.
Yeah, I didn't have to hear Doug Peterson say that to believe that Evan Ingram wouldn't be playing. When you hurt a hamstring on a Sunday, the idea that you're going to be back in 8 days generally is not going to come to pass. I will say, you look at the Buffalo side, Tony, they've already ruled out Terrell Bernard, their middle linebacker, who got hurt in the game. Balin Spector came in and actually played pretty well as a backup, but Teron Johnson's out as well, who's a really good nickel corner. So maybe this is an opportunity to kind of get Christian Kirk going, in that short to intermediate area of the field on Monday night.
One or two more here from Coach. He was asked about the man that's going to be speaking here in about 15, 20 minutes down there at the stadium, Trevor Lawrence, addressing the media today. And Coach was asked about his evaluation of Trevor here early in the season.
I guess to if you evaluate, Trevor, and I know the quarterback position and gets a lot of scrutiny, I think. But there's a lot of issues that we have to. I say a lot. There's a few issues that we need. Just assignment errors that need to be fixed. Obviously, I think he's done a good job. Can he be better? Yeah, he can be better.
Wow.
Yeah. What? There was a lot there.
Wow. I mean, how much hesitate? What do I say here without? It feels like, what do I say without throwing my quarterback under the bus, but he said he's been good, but he can be better. It was like, there's you don't want to make a litany of excuses. And it's like we've been talking about, some of it's Trevor, some of it's the O-line, some of it's drops, some of it's mistakes from the backs. It's a combination of things, but that was, man.
Yeah, all the pauses.
I want to hear, right? Doug Peterson's had too many, and I understand why he's had them. But, like 15 seconds in the postgame before he gave any kind of reaction, because I think he's trying to be careful what he says, and maybe he's just going to blow a gasket at one of these points, and he's going to let it all hang out, because that was not exactly
it felt close to that kind of thing, yeah. From Doug, and the next question he was asked, he mentioned that there are things that Trevor is doing well, so he was asked, well, okay, what's Trevor doing well?
I think he's on track. He's doing some really good things. The game the other day, we just didn't have enough opportunities in the first half. Just made some really good throws down the field to Brian, and we continued to push the ball down the field. And I think too, when it's not there, he's done a good job of pulling it down, either running or finding the back. So we just got to keep working.
When it's not there, he's done a good job of pulling it down and running it, or dumping it to the backs.
Yeah.
What has he done well? Well, he's done some good things. This is one of the laziest analyst things. You always hear people on sports talk radio or on TV go, "Oh, they did some nice things." Well, be specific. What is it that they've done that is nice? Oh, they've done some nice things. It's such a cliche little sentence. And what are some of those good things that Trevor's done? Yeah, he's done some nice things. Well, you can't come up with anything more than he's done a good job pulling it down and taking off running on a couple of occasions.
Look, I'll say for me, because that's the first time I've heard those comments from Doug Peterson. You know me, Mike. We've known each other for a long time. I am the constant guy. I'm looking for the bright side of everything. I'm a positive guy. I've been looking for the reasons why I believe the Jags can win this game on Monday night for 3 days now. And I hear that stuff from Doug, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, where the heck are they right now?
Look, that's my reaction.
That's my gut reaction to that.
Absolutely. But it's not like I'm suggesting that he should go up there and go, oh, Trevor's been perfect. He's been this, he's been that. It's just shocking when the head coach is struggling to come up with something.
Yeah.
Give us a positive. Give us an example of some of these positives. Well, he pulled it down and taken off and run a couple of times.
We've seen them express much more confidence in much worse situations than what they're currently in. That's the thing that stands out about it. It's like, yeah, they could have been 2-0. They're 0-2. All these things that we've talked about throughout this process the last couple of weeks. And then, where are we with Trevor right now?
Look, and we want accountability.
Coach is like, I need a few seconds to really digest how difficult a question that is. With where we're at with the quarterback right now, it's stunning.
Especially when you know that question's coming.
Yeah.
That's the most bizarre part.
No doubt. As we'll get ready to put a bow on this edition of Jaguars Today, but before we do, we need to say hello to XL Primetime Joe Coward jumping in with us.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Joe, the combination of how much he was doing that in the postgame this week with what we heard from that presser just a little while ago, it's the combination of those two things together that's got me going, where are they right now in that locker room? And as I said, I am the generally looking for the bright side guy.
Sure.
They're making it more difficult for me to point out bright sides without feeling like an idiot.
Yeah, I like to go eternal optimist anytime I can. I'm with you there. But there are just some of these early telltale signs that are hugely negative. And look, I can look forward to a lot of things until I see the actual product. Mm-hmm. And right now, let's just remind everybody, these were two very winnable games. They did not win them. They did some good things, but they did enough bad things to cost themselves those games that are crucial down the stretch. And so, yeah, it looks sideways, it's going sideways, and it's not going to get any easier.
What do you got coming up today on Primetime?
Well, we're definitely going to tear into the Jags and the Bills. We definitely like to stay on that, but I've been looking at the other 0-2 teams and who has the best chance to pull themselves out of the ashes and get back in playoff contention. So we'll keep going down that road. But there are some big games in college football. And since the Jags play Monday night, we'll probably do a little more college today. But you got Tennessee with Josh Heupel going back to Oklahoma. You've got Oklahoma State, Utah, Michigan, USC. These are really, really good games in September. Man, it happens so fast in terms of the college football slate. We're already in week 4, Tony.
Yeah.
Week 4. And
Yeah,
so
Tennessee, Oklahoma's an SEC clash. That still feels weird to say.
It sounds weird, feels weird, but we're going to definitely get into it.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll be listening. XL Primetime coming up next from noon to 2. Joe Cowart, Matt Hayes, Leon Searcy. We'll be listening, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
As they get into it coming up after us. Dempsey, best of luck on the roads tomorrow on the way in, my friend. Yeah.
Guess I need to check that traffic report a little bit earlier. But nevertheless, I will see you mañana.
Yes, we will see you tomorrow. So that'll do it for us. For Mike DeRocco, for Mike Dempsey, for Dylan Denmark, I'm Tony Smith. Tommy Mack will join us on the program tomorrow. No keys to a victory. We'll save that for Garrard on Monday when the Jags are actually playing, but we'll get Tommy's reaction, which I'm sure will be all sunshine and rainbows to what the Jags have done through the first 2 weeks of the season as we get into a Friday tomorrow here on Jaguars Today. XL Primetime coming up next here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. Pick the winners and be a winner. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at